I know for up and coming artists, you guys wear many hats. You want to release music and have it reach potential listeners so that they can then become fans. Now, I've noticed some small things that affect that conversion of potential listeners to fans in big ways. But don't worry, I have 5 tips. Matter of fact, I have 5 simple tips to help you out. Stay locked in. Hey, what's up? My name is Jasmine Hamilton, but you can call me J Neek. I'm an audio engineer and music producer that love looking for new artists. I'm always on the search for looking for new artists. I love listening to new music, but I'm finding that it's not as simple as it could be. Now, I can easily find a new artist initially, but the problem I run into is finding it consistently across all social media platforms and streaming platforms. And I actually experienced these issues when I was creating a playlist for my clothing brand, One Lion Hundred Sheep. And basically, I wanted to just listen to dope up and coming artists, put you guys all on a playlist, and share it on any platform I possibly can. But because of a lack of presence across different platforms, it kind of stifles the process of it getting done. So here are some tips that I have for upcoming artists to make it easier for the listener to find you and to identify you. Let's get into it. All right, tip number 1, have your music on all platforms. I cannot stress this enough. You have to understand that potential listeners are on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play, SoundCloud, YouTube, and even Instagram. You have to have your music on all platforms, especially all streaming platforms. There was a lot of artists that I did find on YouTube, and they were dope, but I could not find them on other streaming sites, or I found them on SoundCloud, but yet they weren't on Spotify. You have to understand, potential listeners are everywhere. If you limit yourself to only 1 or 2 platforms, you're hindering your reach to them. So don't do that. Have your music on all streaming and social media platforms. Tip number 2, your brand image should be consistent across all profiles. I should be able to know and identify it's you no matter what profile I'm viewing on what platform. Meaning, if you have a logo or album artwork on Instagram, have that transition over to your Twitter. Have that transition over to Apple Music. Have that on your SoundCloud. Have that across the board so no matter where I go, I know it's you. And it's very important for up and coming artists to do this is because people are not as familiar with you yet. Potential listeners have never heard you a day in their life. So when they use platforms that are native to them, maybe they're heavy on Instagram, maybe they're just heavy with their Tidal account, they should be able to find you. Like, yeah, I was listening, it came up on my YouTube, oh, they was pretty dope. Let me add their songs to my playlist on Tidal. They should be able to do that. They should be able to identify and know that it is you. Have brand consistency. A great example of this is the artist Her. When she was up and coming, part of her branding was showing just her silhouette. A lot of times she would never actually show her face, or she would wear shades, or she would hold her mouth. That was part of her branding. But her color scheme, it was like a blue, blackish, and then it turned to like yellow. That was consistent no matter what platform or what profile I was viewing of her. And it carried her all the way. You knew it was her. You ain't never heard her before, but you came across her on Instagram, you thought the picture was dope, and then you found some type of imagery or branding that was consistent with that when you went to Apple Music, and it was consistent with that when you went to YouTube. So keep it consistent. Tip number 3, tell people how to pronounce your damn name. Yes, I had to say damn name because as artists, you guys get very creative with your names, or you have to keep in mind that your music can reach anywhere in the world. So So there may be a culture difference as well. People really don't even know how to speak the same language as you, but they will still listen to your music. So show people how to pronounce your name. And how you show them, simply in any bio, you put the pronunciation of your name. Simple as that. Also, another example is to have you say your name. Say your name when you're creating video or content, or even when you make songs. Say your name. Say it clear and precise so that we know how to say your name. An example of this I've seen is an artist by the name of Young Cash Capri out of Philly. He does this all the time. Whether it's a freestyle video or a song, he'll say his tag, Young Cash Capri, fuck is you asking me? He'll say that in the beginning of his freestyles, and he'll say it at the end of his freestyles. But that helps identify him. So that if someone had came across a feature he did with another artist on YouTube and just happened to, go through their timeline and they hear it again, they'd be like, was that the dude I heard? But then he said his name in the song, and then he said his name again doing his freestyle. Oh yeah, that is Young Cash Capri. Keep that in mind. I'm not saying that you have to have a tag or a slogan or whatever may have you, but say your name. Tell people how to pronounce it. Spell it out for us. Okay? Teach us. Tip number 4, have your username or your handle be the same on all social media or streaming platforms. I can't actually stress this enough. I would actually recommend it be your artist name, but I do understand there may be difficulty depending on what your name is. But you should always have this be the same if you can. Consistency is what people need. Like I said before, and I'll say it again, people are unfamiliar with you. They need to get familiar with you. I need to know that West Philly boy is the same person that I'm seeing on Instagram. It's the same person I'm hearing on Apple Music. It's the same person I can pull up on Google Play. It's crucial. Because now I'm getting familiar. You gotta think of me saying, oh, did you listen to West Philly Boy? Yeah, I was on YouTube and it popped up. Yeah, he dope. And I found him on Apple Music, and oh, you should listen. Oh, you don't have Apple Music? Oh, you got Spotify? What type his name in on Spotify? Oh, yeah, you found him? Girl, he dope. Yeah, that's what needs to take place. That whole conversation needs to take place like that. But if your name is not consistent across all social media and streaming platforms, that will not happen. And then you have lost out on potential listeners. And then you have lost out on a potential stream. That's money in your pocket, bro. Sis, that's something that you lost out of because you didn't keep your username or your handle the same on every platform. It's not hard. Even if you have to, say, change your username and handle slightly different from your artist name, slightly, at least if it's consistent across the board, I'll be able to find that everywhere I go. Because most likely if I find you on one platform, I'm going to retype that name I seen everywhere else. So make it easy for us. Last but not least, collab with other artists, influencers, and brands. This is very important. Not only do you gain the ears of other artists that you collaborate with from their fans, they can then transition to being fans of you as well. And it's more content and more product for you to promote with your name attached to it. As far as influencers go, influencers have different followings for different reasons. You can find something that may marry with your brand that makes sense. And then, like I said with the artist, you are now being viewed by their followers. That expands the reach of the potential listeners that can become fans, or at least come and check out your music or check out your page, right? Also, brands. Any type of brand you can think of, whether it's I'm talking about barbershops, restaurants, I'm talking about clothing brands, I'm talking about photographers that are creating their brands for themselves. We are at a time where people actually have more time right now and they're hustling. There's nothing for you to search photographers and see what you can work out with them in regards to pictures that you can get taken for what? Your branding, right? In addition to that, there are many people that have recently graduated from college and they have marketing degrees. They need to gain their experience and they need to expand their portfolio. You don't know what deals you can work out with, say, a marketing agency so that they can help create a brand campaign for you as an artist, which is something that you really, really need to do. So collab with artists, collab with brands, collab with influencers, and it would help with your reach to potential listeners becoming fans. So let's wrap it up. Up and coming artists, you guys are dope, but you have to make it easy for listeners to find you. You cannot just post to what's comfortable for you and expect to get an abundance of people listening to your music. You have to meet the listener where they're at. We're on different type of streaming platforms. We're on different social media platforms. Take advantage of all of it. Take advantage of every bit you can so that you can get that exposure. And don't worry, I'm not gonna just leave you with 5 tips. There will actually be a part 2 to this, so stay locked in and look out for that. All right.